Welcome back. So in the last video, I showed you some of the big examples of conditional rendering, Google Maps, Gmail, applications that are outside the scope of this course. But you can still do conditional rendering to enhance regular websites. And this is an example. So here I've gotten some Bootstrap components, and here is my code. And you'll notice that I've got the Bootstrap CDN for the CSS and down here the JavaScript for Bootstrap. And I have an empty main.js, so I'm not doing anything in there. So here we've got some Bootstrap components and some good examples of conditional rendering, things like drop-downs. You don't see the drop-down menu until you click it and you interact with it, because what would be the point of showing you unless you clicked it? But this is a DOM element that's being shown and hidden. It's right here, actually. So we've just got this A tag here and this UL here. And the UL is being shown and hidden via the JavaScript that Bootstrap's included with. So we've also seen elements like this before, probably. Click this button and some text appears below it, right? You've probably seen that on a website. Again, nothing magical. This text was always here in the HTML, so it's right here, this paragraph. This paragraph right here. There's this paragraph which has the button, and then this div that exists. And you can see here that it just is shown and hidden. Some placeholder content for the collapse component, some placeholder content for the collapse component. And finally, we have a whole chunk of HTML that's not shown until this modal button's clicked. I'm sure you've seen this on a website before. It was always there. It just didn't exist until, it did exist. It just wasn't shown. It wasn't displayed until the button was clicked. And you can do all this with your own JavaScript. So what's the magic behind it? Well, there's some JavaScript that is using DOM manipulation to target certain things on this page. So if we're thinking this launch demo modal, these are just data attributes to make the HTML not so magical, but it's showing you like, hey, this is a modal and it's targeting this thing. And so this hashtag example modal is the selector for this big div, and it's using DOM manipulation to grab that div and show and hide it accordingly. It's a little more advanced than behind the scenes for Bootstrap, because they're making these very dynamic so that you could have any HTML and target anything. But for a basic example, we don't need to be as advanced as them, so we're going to delete these data attributes and make all this stuff work with just our own JavaScript. So we're basically going to recreate an example of this script. I mean, it's going to be less complex again, like I said, but the same idea is there. We're just grabbing elements and showing and hiding them. So a lot of the stuff we want to keep for styling, but we definitely don't need to have those like data attributes that are doing targets, things like this. So anyways, I've removed the JavaScript, so in any case, this shouldn't work anymore. So yeah, click, nothing happens, click, nothing happens, click, nothing happens. So we'll start slicing these up one by one. So starting with this modal here, this launch demo modal, we're just going to go from the bottom up. We have this button that when we click it, we want this other modal to show and hide. Very well. So I'm going to give an approach that is my preferred approach. There are many ways to do conditional rendering outside of how I show it, but this is a solid choice. We want to grab this button. So I will add an ID to it. Just call it demo modal. Demo modal button. We'll grab it. Const demo modal button equals document dot query selector. Hashtag demo modal button. And then we're going to click it. So demo modal button dot add event listener, click function. We'll do an E there. So our modal is here. I've deleted all the kind of data attributes that I was using to target, but we can add our own. So ID equals modal, the only modal on our page. So the way I prefer to do it is to have some CSS already existing on the page. And so this isn't a CSS class, so I'm not going to go over a ton of CSS, but what we're going to do is we're going to link a quick CSS style sheet. Link CSS, boom. So style sheet, style.css, we'll add it real quick. And what we'll do is have a hidden class, and that's going to be display none. We'll make it important because we want to make sure it overwrites our CSS. And it's already hidden, but we want to be able to hide it again. So we'll also have a dot show display block important. The important just overwrites stuff. So we actually probably wouldn't need the dot hidden, but it's I'll show you kind of how you could do a different pattern, because with Bootstrap it'll work a little differently. So what we'll do is just grab that modal we already did, and modal dot add, or sorry, class list dot add, and we're going to add the show class. So click it, our modal shows up. Now these buttons aren't going to work because we've removed the JavaScript, and there's a little bit happening that doesn't have, say, like the fancy gray background, but that's just more CSS. I'm really focused on the showing and hiding of the modal itself. So it pops up, and we could then target those buttons for, say, the close here. We'll just do these, both have modal close. So rather than targeting it by data attribute, I'm going to do modal close for class for both. And well, actually, you know what? We're just gonna do some event delegation. So we'll grab this content here. So we say const modal content equals document.query selector dot modal dash content, and we will add an event lister on click function e if e dot target dot matches dot modal close, that class I added, then we're going to remove the show class. So if I did that correctly, we'll show the modal, and then that should close it. Show the modal, close it, and now we've got it going back and forth. Now I will say that this is already kind of focusing on elements that are already hidden. So there's a little bit of it's basically the opposite change, going backwards using the hidden class. But this video has probably gotten a little long, so I will pause it and we'll go to the next one where we'll do the rest of these, and then I'll show some examples of hiding content already shown and showing it again. So thanks for watching.